The fight between Hakari and Charles begins with a bang. The certified absolute mad lad Hakari was just chilling, throwing hands, nothing too crazy. Then bang, my dude pulls out his domain expansion to end the chapter, entitled Restless Gambler. Pretty interesting. Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 182 doesn't miss, and we are continuing the greatness which is the Culling Games arc. You're a JJK fan, right? If so, you might as well hit that subscribe button, as this channel is now dedicated to Jujutsu Kaisen content. Now, let's get into it. We got an explanation of more insight about Charles and his abilities, which I'll explore shortly. But first, let's talk a little bit about Hakari. My dude is definitely rising the ranks as one of my favorite characters. Calling Charles a disgusting otaku last chapter was peak. And now him just absolutely clap him, just casual, throwing hands, all that chillness. Doesn't even use his curse technique, which we still don't know anything about, apart from like the doors appearing around Yuji. We have no idea how that works yet. Hopefully it gets explored next chapter, as the domain expansion will. And his kinda unique cursed energy that Yuji pointed out about him, how it's rougher than really anyone else we've seen in the series, which has allowed him to deal pretty much more damage in regular blows, with that aspect getting touched upon more so in this chapter from the perspective of Charles who's fighting him. So our boy Charles, I thought he would be like some jobber last chapter. He does have a pretty decent ability, pretty overpowered in the concept of it, but I get the sense that his base stats are going to be the limiting factor in this fight. But his curse technique, or his ability, is pretty much future vision. If you're a Record of Ragnarok fan, you know what that is. But he's able to see 1 second ahead in time after he tags people with his like manga drawing pen, whatever it is. And then as the story goes on, he can see more and more into the future. As we see later in this chapter, he can see 2 seconds. Meaning the longer you fight him, the more of an advantage he ends up getting, as he'll be able to see more and more seconds into the future. However, this is also limited, as he needs to see the person he's fighting to be able to see the future in that 1 second. At least I believe so, as Hakari states, you still have to confirm it with your eyes right as he lands an attack on Charles, so that's most likely the case. Maybe in team fights, Charles will be pretty overpowered, but his base stats, at least compared to someone like Hakari who's being portrayed as a top tier, will be his biggest downside in this fight, at least from my perspective in reading this chapter. Another thing about Charles is him wanting to be a manga author. That's his whole gimmick. He does quote other like manga stories, which is pretty funny for some of his attacks. I really enjoyed that aspect. I personally haven't read any of the things he quoted, so I can't comment too much on the specifics, but I'm guessing if you have read those series, there will be some pretty cool moments from Charles in that context, and hopefully he continues doing that to see some other manga Gege wanted to mention in the story, with this character being very unique, so I guess that's a very promising aspect on that. But of course, let's talk a little bit about his domain expansion. Right after Charles is able to see 2 seconds in the future, he's trying to talk some shit. Hakari, just chill. Domain expansion, Restless Gambler. And due to Charles being able to see 2 seconds into the future now, he's already received the full explanation of the rules regarding his domain and his technique. So we're finally going to get the reveal next chapter about Hakari's technique and I guess rules regarding his domain expansion. Unless Charles just gets negged, like we don't actually see it, he just gets negged instantly and we don't fully get the explanation, which will be some high level cuckery, but something I could see Gege doing, but I'm praying he doesn't do that. Also in the final panel, it says here, I guess the narrator saying, this domain cannot be predicted. That's a pretty nutty statement for our boy Hakari, so if it is some very OP stuff, Hakari as one of the strongest characters to potentially rival or surpass Gojo in the future will be very promising, and as someone compared to Yuta on multiple occasions, he will most likely need something pretty OP. As we just finished Yuta's first big fight of the Culling Games, we saw what he's currently capable of, which is some nutty stuff. So if he's going to be on that level, he's going to have some nutty stuff in his own regard. But I think Charles may be done for. I don't get the sense he's going to have his own domain expansion. He just more so has a very hack space ability, but he's definitely outclassed in fighting Hakari here, which is kind of what I expected. I still think the major fight for Hakari during his colony is against this guy. Maybe Panda will end up running into him first and get defeated, and that's when we'll have the arrival of Hakari. But again, I didn't think this Charles guy would have an ability like this, so he may come back next chapter and like awaken something within himself and start beating on Hakari for all we know, able to counter the domain extension. But if I had to guess, I doubt anything like that's going to happen. Let me know down in the comments what you think his Restless Gambler domain and what his technique's going to be. Also, some other videos you want me to make regarding Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm really enjoying the series right now, so I will be working on more like well edited, more quality stuff rather than like these chapter videos or alongside these chapter videos. So expect those in the coming weeks. But that's everything for today's video. Shout out to the Mad Lads who support the channel via the Patreon. Check out the other stuff in the description. And that's it guys. Peace.